it is so fucking important that whatever you're dealing with in life, you face it head on and you identify that and you feel it. You have to recognize what you're feeling and what outside forces make you feel that way if you're ever going to have a shot in hell in addressing the issue. What is up, y'all? Cody Allen, and I am here to give you guys episode number 8 of the THECODYALLEN podcast. Is it 8? Yes, it is 8. I know that it's 8. Actually, I don't know that it's 8. I'm pretty sure that it's 8 because I'm pretty sure that Miles is on number 7. But today is the day known as the day after fucking Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. And that's that. I mean, think what you want about it. At the end of the day, comedians make jokes. Jokes are jokes. And that's that. A lot is being said about a bunch of other shit and regarding him, his wife, what she does, what he does. And I don't really care. That's all I'm going to say about it. But everybody and their mother's been sending me memes, gifts, whatever the hell it is about it. And I may or may have not bought a shirt that is of him getting slapped. But that's just because it's funny. As always, this podcast is sponsored by Cuts. I'm wearing Cuts. Cuts is the most premium everyday shirt you could buy for men. I mean that in the most serious way. I love wearing Cuts every single day. I wear it I always say you could wear it for any occasion in between the gym and going to a wedding. Meaning lounging around the house, going to work, going to meet up for drinks after, going to meet for coffee, going out, going to even more like formal event, especially like in their joggers and stuff. I go to business meetings all the time in Cut shirts, Cuts joggers. I remember I used to not like to wear short sleeves to business meetings because I was like, oh man, like I'm going to lose clients because I got all these tattoos. Now I could give 2 shits. But anyway, use my code, THECODYALLEN. You guys get 15% off anything that you buy from Cuts. And yeah, that's that. They're constantly dropping new stuff every single Friday. You guys got to get their new festival collection. I got 2 of their shirts already. I'm not wearing it in this because this is my house. This is the studio. This is not a festival. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is something that I am working on as an individual. I know you guys look at me and you're like, oh, he's perfect, right? Far from that. Something that I am consistently working on as an individual is feeling my feelings. This is something that men struggle with. This is something women are told that they shouldn't do sometimes. Be like, oh, you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too emotional. That's a load of shit, right? So what I mean by that, and let me tie it into football as I always do, or any athletics. So much of what we do in life, we try to block out or numb it. I am the first person that I've been told that tries to minimize things, that tries to make them seem like they're not as big of a deal, because that is how I was kind of programmed as an athlete. I am the ultimate rub some dirt on it guy. Sprain your ankle on a play, twist it, shoulders fucked up. Like I had a neck injury in college. I would go tackle somebody or hit a blocker, and I'd feel shooting pain strike down my nerve. Sorry, I just bumped the mic. Strike down my nerve through my shoulder. It's kind of debilitating. Different story, different podcast, different time. Anyway, I couldn't show that I was hurt. Because why? I was feared that they would come at me the next play, right? You don't want to show any weakness. So when I was hurting, whether it be physical pain or mentally I just wasn't there, I wouldn't say necessarily that this was, actually I will say that it is praised if it's like, oh, that guy's a tough son of a bitch. That guy doesn't show any weakness. That guy doesn't show any pain. And I've adopted that throughout all of my life. The issue with that is that I tend to not show a lot of emotion when it comes to being really hurt in a lot of ways or being really happy. I've always said, and I mentioned on this podcast before, that football is the most humbling sport. 30 seconds, you could be flat backing someone. 30 seconds later, you could be on your ass, right? The reason why I bring this up is because so much of what we do in today's society and how we are kind of coached, if you will, is to mask what we're feeling or ignore it. And one of the reasons why I made the Fill the Gap podcast was because it is so fucking important that whatever you're dealing with in life, whatever's hurting you, whatever's making you feel good, you face it head on and you identify that and you feel it. You have to recognize what you're feeling and what outside forces make you feel that way if you're ever going to have a shot in hell in addressing the issue. And so obviously painkillers is a massive epidemic across America. But one of the things that we would do in college is we had all these aches and pains, right? Knee hurt, back hurt, neck hurt, shoulders hurt. The only way we'd get through practice is if I was like, hey, let me get some, I take ibuprofen, all right? Ibuprofen, anti-inflammatory, so over-the-counter medicine, if you will. But it'd kind of be a pain reliever, a pain reducer for a short stint. The issue with that, and ibuprofen in general, theoretically, you could become tolerant to it or build up a tolerance to it. And it becomes a crutch. It becomes something that it's like, I couldn't practice unless I was like, oh, okay, like, let me get some ibuprofen. Let me get some ibuprofen. Because at some point in my head, I truly believed that I could only perform if I took ibuprofen before. This works the same way with anything else that we try to deal with in life by just using it to mask what we're actually feeling. One thing that I'll talk about that's kind of like widespread and widely accepted is alcohol. I have so many friends that family members, people that I know, acquaintances, people that I hate, not hate, but people that I just don't like, that rather than dealing with what they're feeling, dealing with what is actually going on inside of their heart, inside of their head, maybe even physically, they just try to numb that. And they numb it with things like alcohol, drugs, abuse, violence, pushing it onto other people, not dealing with really what's going on inside of their head. And that's why I think as a whole, myself included, we need to do a better job of just feeling our feelings. I know that sounds kind of, I don't know, call it soft to say. I'm sure that 21-year-old Cody would be like, what the hell are you talking about? But the sooner that you feel feelings, the sooner that you stop trying to run from them, the sooner that you stop trying to make it a point to numb out everything that makes you feel poorly in life, the sooner that you're able to deal with it. And I have a ton of people that I just know, and myself included in the past, that rather than facing whatever I was feeling or making me feel negatively, sad, depressed, angry, I would just go drink it away, right? Because when I'm drinking or when I'm partying or whatever the hell I was doing, I was just neglecting what was actually going on in my head. And all you're doing is, what do they say, kicking the can down the road. You got to deal with this shit eventually. If you don't, you're going to be chasing it, running from it rather, your entire life. And what ends up happening, you hide it so well for so long that you trick somebody into having a kid with you, and then you just end up pushing these or taking it out on or being a negative influence on your kid, or the person you're in a relationship with. You see that so often. They say, what, hurt people hurt people? You're never going to be 100% ready to, have a kid. Okay, disclaimer, don't have any kids. But I meant you're never going to be 100% the best version of yourself by the time you have a kid. Also, you're never going to be the best 100% version of yourself when you're ready to get in a relationship or in a marriage. You're constantly working, growing, developing. But if there are some glaring things that just fucking you cannot function or you're constantly running from, they're going to negatively impact you and those around you. It's tough though, because there's a sense of pride in being able to dust yourself off, to rub some dirt on it. There's a sense of pride in getting your shoulder bent backwards, and yeah, it hurts, but I'm going to shake it off and I'm going to be ready for the next play. Don't mind me. I don't need help. And that's another thing that men do very poorly of, is asking for help. Don't mind me. I don't need help. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. A lot of times people aren't good. We like to pretend like we are. I like to pretend like I am. Put up this facade and try to fake it till you make it. That was something that would always happen, in conditioning. Like, you'd be fucking dead. You'd be dead. But you'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I can do the next rep. Speaking of, sidebar, over the weekend, I'm 31 now. Over the weekend, I got with my boy Ricky that shoots all of my photo and video stuff for all my social channels. And I was like, I want to do something that people kind of say 30-year-olds shouldn't be able to do. I want to do something that I used to do when I was 21. I want to do something that to physically test myself, that people would look at me and be like, dude, are you fucking out of your mind? And so over the weekend, in conjunction with 10,000, their men's fitness apparel company that I've rocked with now for like 4 years, I think since 2018. These guys are awesome. The products that they make are second to none. And so I geared up in their stuff, and we did a little college football gridiron throwback feat of strength, where I was like, I want to see how much I can bench, squat, deadlift, and then I want to go do the most horrific football conditioning drills that you can think of. And so I think I benched only 315 just because elbow tendonitis and I'm old. I squatted 515, I think. Deadlifted 535 because that's all that you could fit on the bar and my garage gym. And then after that, the whole kicker, I understood that those numbers aren't anything to, or I understand those numbers aren't anything to like look twice at, right? They're very average numbers in my mind. But I immediately went into this insane cardio workout on a football field. It was so fucking taxing, so horrific in a lot of ways. We're going to drop the full feature here on YouTube and wherever the hell you're watching this. And just kind of prove to myself that coming out of hernia surgery 4 months ago, being older, having to get back into shape, all of these things that we constantly tell ourselves are like, oh, well, like you're 30 now, so you're not going to be what you once were. It's all kind of just bullshit, right? Obviously, you can't deny science. A lot of people do, but you can't deny it when it comes to aging, right? So am I as strong as I was 10 years ago? No. Could I be? Hell yeah, probably if I trained that way. But a lot of people just kind of throw in the towel. I have a lot of friends that are just kind of like, you know what? I'm past it. I'm done. I'm past my prime. And that's it. And so this last weekend was kind of like a test to myself and kind of proving to myself that I can still do this shit. I guess the reason why I bring that up is because I need some fucking ibuprofen. I am so sore. I worked out this morning and it was rough. Yeah, it was for sure. It was for sure rough. Along with that, kind of goes into one other thing that I wanted to touch on, and we talked about feeling your feelings, and that ability to feel your feelings is tied directly to another emotion, which is anxiety. And I didn't realize until recently that I am an anxious person. I was always like, nah, I'm cool, I'm collected, I'm this, I'm that. But there are certain things in my life that trigger anxiety, and anxiety is what I feel is an overused word that comes from my non-professional state of being. You know, I think that anybody, anytime they get a little uneasy, they're like, oh, I'm super anxious, whatever, I have anxiety. I've had bouts recently where I felt overly anxious to where I started acting sort of erratic. What those triggers are, I am aware of, and what those triggers are something that I'm working towards, working through, and working on how to deal with them in the most healthy way. Because a lot of times, anxiety is often triggered by the unknown. In my specific scenario, I'm not talking about anybody else, case at least. Triggered by the unknown, triggered by building up this massive amount of what if in my head, and my heart starts racing. It's weird, right? I've had one full-blown panic attack my entire life. That was a different situation. Maybe we'll get to that someday. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to feel when feeling your feelings is scary, because you know what's going to come along with that. It's anxiousness, and nobody likes feeling anxious. And so that's why we often supplement with something in our lives so that we can distract ourselves from it. And that comes from where we try to numb the pain, numb the anxiety, numb the anxiousness, right? Whatever medication we take, whatever the hell it is. The main reason why that could be dangerous, going down this path and trying to constantly avoid what you're actually feeling, is the same reason why painkillers are extremely dangerous for athletes. Because if my knee hurts and my body sends elicits a physical response to my brain that says like, hey dude, stay off your knee. Something's not right. Do you feel that? Like that sharp shooting pain that's not normal? Something structurally probably is not right. So your brain tells your body, or your body tells your brain like, hey, fucking stop. What we do is we take these painkillers, we take whatever, pain reducers that stop sending the signal. I'm not a scientist by any stretch. Stop sending the signal from our body to our brain. And so there's that disconnect between how your body actually is and what your brain's telling your body is. So you can go out there and run. The big issue with this, just like anything in life, is that you leave yourself more apt to be hurt. Because if your knee's not ready to go and your knee can't tell your brain or your body that you're hurt because you've numbed that pain out in whatever method you choose, then it's extremely dangerous, because now you're going to go out there, you could potentially blow your knee out. That's the same thing with any sort of ailment, mentally, physically, whatever it is that you have in life, and you just continue to numb it, you continue to ignore it, you continue to just walk through life pretending like you're not hurt or broken or whatever word you want to use in some way, because eventually, if you continue to numb it, it's going to come out and it's going to break or destroy or hurt something else in your life. So it's really just important to me that I get that out there, that a lot of people understand these are some of the things that I deal with on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And it's a lot of things that a lot of athletes struggle with, because we've been taught our entire lives to just rub some dirt on it, shake it off. You're good. You're fine. And it's super fucking okay to not be okay. What is that, like a Demi Lovato song? It's super okay to just feel it and then find a way to do something about it. You gotta make the appropriate corrections in your life, because at the end of the day, no matter all the shit that's happening in life, the buck stops with you. You are at fault, just like you are celebrated for all the things that happen in your life. You can't control them all, but what you can do is you can prepare yourself to be the most well-equipped to deal with the shit that comes at you. So we've been running for, I don't know, 20 minutes now almost. I guess we'll call it. There's something else I want to talk about, but I had to talk about how Will Smith got up on stage, walked up to another grown man who made a joke about his wife and slapped the shit out of him. And I will say my entire thought on that whole process and that whole thing is Chris Rock's kind of got a chin on him. It's pretty impressive. So anyway, you guys know where to follow me on all channels. Find me on my website, whatever. It's all TheCodyAllen.com. All channels are The Cody Allen. Subscribe, like this episode if you liked it. Share with somebody that might need to hear some of this shit. If there's anything that you want to talk about, drop it in the comments. I reply to everybody because I'm not getting thousands of comments right now. So appreciate you guys. Catch y'all next week.